We are at the State Capitol building in Hartford, Connecticut, the site of the 2011 America East Men's and Women's Basketball Media Day. It's my pleasure to introduce the new head coach of the University of Vermont, John Becker. Does that still sound a little weird to hear that attached to your name? That's your title now.
It sounds great, actually. You can keep saying it if you want.
Well, we only got a couple minutes here, so let's get to your personnel. But this is a thrill for you because you know these players, you know what you have coming back. So to have a chance to coach a team that could compete for a championship in your head coaching debut here for Vermont must be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it is really exciting. I think we have a pretty good team coming back. Still relatively young. I mean, 6 guys are sophomores. But pretty good players, and I'm excited for the season.
What have you noticed so far about some of those guys who had great freshman year? I think Volkel comes to mind right away.
Yep.
What are they going to do for an encore? And sometimes sophomores, the expectations get a little high after great freshman year, and you got to kind of manage those expectations.
It's funny because I've talked to Brian quite a bit about that he's going to have a bullseye on his back. He won't have Evan and Joey there to kind of take the pressure off him. So he's really going to have to step his game up and continue to get better. And Sandro, same thing, had a great kind of surprise freshman year. And now he's kind of solidified himself as our point guard, but he's got to continue to get better, as they take on a bigger role for our team.
How about some names that we haven't heard yet that we might hear as the year goes along, whether some newcomers to the program or guys who are going to elevate their game that have been on the roster in the past?
Yeah, Pat Bergman, who's a fifth-year senior, is going to have to kind of step up for us this year, and Ben Kranka and Luke Apfeld are guys that come to mind, some bigs that are going to be thrust into bigger roles this year after, losing Evan, who, was our leader last year. So we're going to continue to play the same style. We're going to throw the ball inside a lot, and we got to find a guy or two that can deliver.
Is your coaching style, and you've got to figure it out, but is it similar to what you were seeing at Vermont the last few years, or how do you expect to go about doing things?
I mean, systematically, we'll look the same. From the stands when you watch us, we'll run a lot of the same stuff and continue to play good defense and rebounding. My coaching style, I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to try to be Mike, and Mike's been successful coaching the way he does, and like you said, I'll have to see how that goes, but I'm just going to be myself and see where that takes us.
Laurie Gear-McBride getting ready for year number 2. I asked someone else this earlier. When you get past the first year, can you exhale a little bit? Because it probably was a little bit crazy in that first year.
Yeah, I think you can, just in terms of familiarity with the league, knowing kind of what we need to do now to make ourselves competitive, to be that team that we want to be from an identity standpoint. So all that stuff, now that we have a year under our belt, it's a lot easier, and we just have a much clearer picture of where we're headed.
For any second-year coach, it's important because now you have your first recruiting class, and tell us how recruiting went for you.
We feel good about it. Obviously, everybody's still really young. We've got 6 newcomers, 5 freshmen, and a transfer that sat out last year. So it's a much different team. I think just when you add that many components, there's a lot of new energy, a lot of excitement, and we're going to make a lot of mistakes just because we're young, but I think it's going to pay off for us.
Now that you've had a chance to kind of get your feet under you, what sort of changes or coaching style will we see, and what about the style of play really for Vermont coming into the second season?
Well, we just want to play really hard, and I think we want to take pride in playing at Vermont and having that be a place where people don't want to travel to, just because I think that we have such great crowd support and our community really rallies around the program. So we want to give them something that they can really cheer for, and that's intensity and just really a hard-nosed brand of basketball.